You want an investment edge, but all you hear is noise, hype, and half-truths. Every signal is solid information, but only if you can see the bigger picture. This is where the quasar magic happens. Weather, charts, news, all financial signals funneled into a single dashboard. Data alone isn't enough. Quasar Markets turns it into energy, sharp, clear, precise. Optimize with Quasar Markets today. Your edge when investing.
Good morning, Quasar Markets Live. I am solo today. I'm big man. BigBeat is in Key West having a little well-deserved fun. But we've got plenty to keep us busy today for sure. Markets are pretty firm out of the gate. We do see the S&P futures eyeing a 20th record of 2025. Dow is pretty steady. NASDAQ has just popped on some economic data. It was lagging going into the morning. VIX 14.3, so 14.21 pulling back. So, the big news obviously was NVIDIA's earnings last night, and that has been not the fireworks we sort of expected, but quite honestly, a little bit of a nothing burger so far. We do see a slight pickup here today on NVIDIA. Now it had gone back to negative, but it had gone positive briefly here this morning. We'll break down their earnings for sure. 10-year yields are staying pretty steady in that 4.23%, so almost exactly flat on the day so far. Let me shut my volume off there. Dollar index has broken back below 98 here, so a little bit of a cooling off, second day in a row of a cooling off on that. Dollar is king talk, and gold at 34.60, getting a little bit of wind here as the dollar does cool off. Nice little run up here by gold over the last few days. The theme of the day, basically, AI is still the engine. Retail earnings are strong. Bonds are flashing some warnings, though, that we got to keep an eye on. The economy isn't slowing down as much as some thought. So, let's start to break it down. Like I said, the biggest news of the day is definitely going to be NVIDIA. Hey, Ron, how are you doing, my friend? NVIDIA's earnings, it was down anywhere from 1 to 1.5% in the post-market trading last night, but you can see it has bounced back again, hit lows of about 171 right on the release of the news, but we've seen a nice buy the dip mentality, and it seems to have some strength going today, which could give some strength to other names in those sectors. So keep an eye on CoreWeave, AVGO, MU. Some of those are definitely names to keep an eye on for sure. So what did NVIDIA have to say? Their data center revenue was up 56% year over year at $41.1 billion. Still huge, but slightly below estimates. I talked about this yesterday. NVIDIA came in with a much higher bar set than most other companies coming into their earnings. Their EPS came in at $1.05 per share. They were expecting $1.01, so a little bit of a beat there. And revenue with a slight beat of $46.7 billion versus estimates of $46 billion. Again, they did give decent guidance. Their Q3 guidance is for $54 billion in revenue, beating consensus, but just shy of the top end numbers we had seen already set by the streets. Importantly, they had no H2O China chip sales included. That's upside if a deal could be cut here with the Trump administration and China. Can we get this deal done? That could definitely be huge tailwinds towards NVIDIA following this. Like I said, market reaction was mixed. We saw the stock dip 2%, has already recovered most of that and is currently, down about 39 basis points. Be interesting to see what we get here at the open. Any kind of further dip back down today, I'd be a buyer. I did pick a little bit up when it dipped down on those first readings yesterday, but not as much as I definitely want to have for the longer term. What has been the street's reaction? Analysts definitely seem to like what they're reading more than retail. And Jeffrey said, rock solid demand, everything sold out. Oppenheimer came and said that they are the center of the AI bullseye. They raised their price target to 225. Citi put their price target at 210. JP Morgan 215. HSBC was the only one that sort of came back and said they are going to be cautiously optimistic. They want clearer cloud CapEx guidance. So again, the analysts seem to like it more than the street so far. Demand is definitely intact. Guidance conservative, but still to the upside. And analysts are still bullish, although analysts get paid to be bullish. You know what I mean? That's the idea. And for those that don't know, what I mean there is, if analysts aren't in general fairly positive towards the market they cover, they find a lot of times that their access to that, data gets a little bit taken away. So, always keep in mind that analysts are going to be, in general, glass half full people when it comes to talking about the ones they cover. So without a doubt, we did have some economic data come out here. Jobless claims, GDP revision, and then we do have housing data still on tap. So jobless claims did fall. They came down to 229,000, down 5,000 from last week. So was the prior uptick just a blurb, or are we starting to see the layoffs start to kick in? I mean, Google just announced, that they laid off a bunch of people. It's funny, the numbers, that they seem to be holding, but, we keep hearing more and more companies that are laying people off. So it's surprising that they're holding as steady as they are. But maybe employers are still reluctant to cut workers. GDP revision came out, Q2 growth revised up to 3.3% from 3%. Economists were expecting 3.1%. So U.S. economy still running a little hotter than first thought. Love to see that. Steve Flanagan talked about that here on the show yesterday. And could be good as a bigger macro guide. The labor market is still solid. Growth is strong. It will make tomorrow's PCE inflation data even more critical to talk about or look at. A hot PCE reading could reignite yield pressures. So we'll be keeping an eye on that. So far, tick is staying positive. Like I said, since those economic data came out, we've had a nice upward move here. Tick up about 116 right now, and it's advanced decline that you can really see. Open the morning market down slightly, and now we see us up about 2,000 there. Again, the S&P set to open at its 20th high, all-time high of 2025. Amazing to think that. And then the Qs, like I said, now, which were the laggards, are picking right up with it, up about 12 basis points. The market does look like it wants to move to the upside. Bitcoin nicely regained 113 overnight, finally broke through that resistance. It hasn't been able to get through at that 112,500 last few days. So still looking very positive there. Now the key is to hold above that 112.5 here, maybe even test it as support, use it as a blast off point. Ethereum a little bit more sideways, actually consolidating in this sort of symmetrical triangle and locked in right about that 4,600 level. I mentioned gold here breaking back up towards the highs. Question will be, what does it do as it broaches or tries to break that 34.40 area? You can see it's been the tough resistance zone for it. It's been a heck of a trade if you've just played it off of the edges here. So again, I'm more of a fader at that 34.50 than a breakout when it comes to gold. Currently, we do see oil moving up slightly here. WTI at 63.83 or so. Brent at 67.28. And as I mentioned, the 10-year almost completely flat today versus yesterday, right at 4.238. Overnight, we did see the Japanese stock market, the Nikkei, move up almost a full percentage point nicely. We do see weaker news out of Europe where the stocks is pretty flat over the day. And in China, actually seeing a pullback here of almost a full percentage point. And we are seeing that lay over to some of the ADRs or American traded depositories of the Chinese names. I do think we need to talk a little bit about what the bond market is telling us here. So we do see bond yields are starting to converge. So the question is risk being mispriced right now. The 30-year to 2-year spread is the widest since 2022. Again, that is the distance between the 2-year and the 20-year. Can I get the yield curve? Yep, up. So again, this widening between the 30-year and the 2-year, is the question is it a red flag or is it merely just a, mispricing of bonds currently? We've had some different feelings on that by different analysts and economists. Apollo's Tortzen Slock said yields converging across corporates, treasury, and equity forward yields, and that equities aren't rewarding risk relative to bonds. Mott Capital said that spread could actually hit 160 basis points, more of a steepening in the curve, and it's very unusual this late in the cycle. And as I put on the screen here, margin debt has hit a record 1 trillion. Is that a red flag or not is the question. It tracks rising equity values, but you can see leverage in the market, as BigBeat has been warning about, has continued to grow. And we've got bond market basically screaming that risk is mispriced and equity saying we don't care. AI still dominates and we control the market. Question is going to be which side blinks first, the bond traders or the stock and equity traders. I tend to bet on the bond traders personally. Let's get into the corporate earning movers. What are the stocks moving up and down today? First one on my list is Snowflake. Let me get to my list here. Snowflake up about 13% between yesterday and today after the data cloud and artificial intelligence company posted second quarter adjusted earnings of 35 cents per share on a revenue of 1.14 billion. Analysts polled by LSEG had expected profits of 27 cents and a revenue of 1.09, so a nice beat on both of them. Company also raised its fiscal year product revenue guidance, and they said that 25% of their platform use case is now AI related. So nice move up here by Snowflake in the earnings. Next one to take a look at here is Pure Storage, the battery company, up 14% on strong enterprise demand. Company beat on top and bottom lines. Their adjusted earnings for the second quarter were 43 cents per share, above the 39 cents expected from analysts polled by LSEG. Revenue was 861 million versus the 847 million consensus estimate. So nice move up here by the battery play. And it's held up nicely here since making that jump. Again, it was one that jumped in the post market yesterday. So holding up very nicely so far. Another winner today, Dollar General. Oh, this one has been pulling back dramatically since making the jump. Dollar General is had an EPS beat of 186, raised their fiscal year guidance. And you can see the discount retail is leading the way when it comes to retail. You can see that both by their earnings and some of the others that are we're going to discuss here. Also, company has showing the same type of move that we're seeing here out of Five Below. They had an earnings beat also up 4%. They raised their outlook after a 24% revenue surge. They said that their simplified pricing model is working, and they raised both its third quarter and fiscal year earnings and revenue growth. So we're seeing it again across a lot of the value names here. Dick's on the other side still raised guidance, had their earnings report. They said that the Nike launch has gone very strong and that the Foot Locker acquisition is closing soon, but the market doesn't seem to be, taking well to their earnings reports so far. Another one where it's not hitting as well as you'd like to see, Bath and Body Works down about 7.55% here this morning. The fragrance and candle retailer shed 7% after posting second quarter adjusted earnings of 37 cents per share, missed the 38 cents analysts pulled. And their 1.55 billion revenue was right in line with expectations. So not much of a move there. Getting out of retailers and, like I said, back into other areas. Wynn Resorts up nicely here today, up about 5% in the last 24 hours. Again, so they have raised their fiscal year guidance, has them moving to the upside, and a few analyst increases there has them moving. One of the biggest laggards to the downside is the Cooper Company here today. They are down about 16%, as you can see, as they cut guidance despite having a beat. So they are a global medical device company. They issued disappointing fourth quarter revenue guidance, though it did meet expectations in most recent quarter. They expect revenues in the range of 1.049 billion to 1.07 billion in the fourth quarter, below the estimates that were coming in right about 1.09. So they are getting hit pretty hard here on it. Another one getting hit pretty hard today was Hormel, the food service company. They talked about their commodity costs going up and that more price hikes are most likely on tap. Hormel, if you don't know, is one of, if not the largest pork provider in the U.S., but they are a big protein producer, beef, pork, chicken, all of that stuff. Taking a big hit here. And we're going to see that, what they're pointing to, that I would also point out is the fact that they're going to raise food costs. So food prices are looking to go up here in general. So we are about 10 minutes from the open. Advanced decline continuing to move to the upside here. Q continuing to slide to the upside. The NASDAQ also. We'll say NVIDIA taking a little bit of a pullback, so that's not coming from them. In general, the MAG 7, we do see Apple, Microsoft, Google, Amazon, and Tesla set to open in the green. We do see Meta, Netflix, and NVIDIA on the downside. If we start to look a little bit at the different sectors of the S&P, we do see that most of them outside of the consumer discretionary sector set to open in the green so far. So it does look like a little bit of a risk on attitude taken off today in the market. So we'll see if that continues through this open here in about 8 minutes. or does it start to, fall away? We do have some pretty big earnings on deck tonight to also mention. We have Dell Computer, Marvell, the chip manufacturing, Ulta Beauty, a firm in the financial sector, and Sentinel One. So we do see a bunch more earnings coming out today. As I mentioned, we also do have tomorrow's PCE earnings or PCE inflation data that we will keep in mind. Can't get into the open without talking about the fight still between the president and Lisa Cook. She has said she has filed suit to block his firing of her. So we'll see what comes out of that. But that is definitely still a little bit of a headwind on the markets in general. Trying to see what's quick ticking here. Anything? Not anything really clicking off there, so we'll see what else is going on here. Bitcoin 113,429. Let's go. Nice move to the upside. Ethereum also moving nicely to the upside. And again, if you just looking at my watch list, most things moving to the upside here. Gold just broke above 3,400 here, so we're getting close to that top end that I talk about, 3,450, where I would look to fade on any kind of weakening there. Another stock that had its earnings this morning had a revenue and earnings beat up about 5.47. Ollie's Bargain Outlet Holdings, Ollie. So again, we are seeing the lower end consumer retailer is doing well. Same thing in a sympathy play. Dollar Tree up about 1.9% here. They do go into earnings next week on Wednesday, so that is not an earnings based one. Some of the crypto names getting a little love today. Hut is up about 3.23%. Part of that was their new announcement of some of their data centers. They are going to partner with Google on some data centers. So that's what has that moving. The other one that's moving nicely today that I talk about a lot is Brown-Forman, the folks from Jack Daniels. Nice little move up here, about 4.66%. They did announce their quarterly earnings here. It was a revenue miss, but the market is seeming to like what they had to say. Here is the report. It just came out. The EPS was 36 cents. Not much else in the news there that catches my eye that would have them up so much, but Brown-Forman again, Jack Daniels Company, nicely up at 31.87 here in the pre-market trading. Okay, tick is still up here, so we're looking pretty good today so far. In general, yeah, all the crypto related names are catching some wind today, so they could run. MicroStrategy up about 1.26 here, Coinbase 1.39, Robinhood 1.8%, Iron up 2.58, like I said, up 3.5. So Bitcoin mining companies moving up nicely. Same thing, nice little move up here in the pre-market for the BMNR. AI names getting a little love today. Rigetti up about 2% here in the pre-market also. So we do have some nice wins so far today, this morning. Question is, will they be able to hold throughout the day? Snowflake now up 11%, pulling back slightly here. So we are seeing a little bit of profit taking there. See if anything's moving into the gainers. Open Door up about 7%. CoreWeave, a nice jump up 5.64. Like I said, the crypto mining companies all seem to be moving up. Best Buy had their earnings. Forgot about that one. They're looking pretty good here, up about 6% over the last 2 days. Nice move up on their earnings beat. And they came in at 1.28 on their EPS, estimated to be 1.211, and their revenue was a slight beat at 9.44 billion versus an estimate of 9.23. So again, nice move up by Best Buy here at 77.90. Very interesting move up there. Foot Locker getting hit here today. That's surprising. I mean, Dick, they announced that that merger is ready to go through with Dick's. You would think they would have some positive reaction to that. So that's a little surprising. I did mention a lot of the Chinese names that had been high flying this week are doing a little bit of a pullback here. You got Alibaba down about 2% here, Baidu down about 60 basis points. JD down about 2 percentage points here today. So again, the Chinese names are getting pretty hard. NEO is bucking that trend up about 2.84%. So an outlier there. We are 1 minute to the open, so let's see what we get here on the QQQ on the open here. It is right at VWAP on our short-term chart here, the 5-minute chart. So let's see what we get. Pull up my short-term chart here also. So we'll see what we get here at the open. We'll watch the Qs on a 1-minute chart to start our open here. Ron says Hubs with a nice move up. I'm not familiar with Hubs, Ron. HubSpot. Yeah, up about 1.18%. Nothing to shake it. Nothing to shake a stick at for sure. What else are you guys watching today? We are open. Q's first move here is to the upside, 574.22. See the first volume candle coming in here too, also coming in as a green candle. That's what we want to see. Take a look at the SPY. Very similar here on the SPY, same type of setup, move to the upside, seeing a green candle kicking it off. Tick is slightly negative though. Advanced decline opened up at 25.30, so not an overwhelming move to the upside here, more of a just grind to the upside. 647.57. Boom, we've got a new intraday high on the S&P right here, 647.74. New high on the SPY, so it did hit the 20th. Nice pop up by the Qs. That's got to be NVIDIA. Yes, it is up 1.28%. NVIDIA here trying to run. It got room right to 579.64 here, so you definitely have some room here on NVIDIA. Nice little move to the upside here. Oh. What's our volume looking like? Volume's not that high, 19.42. Would have expected to see maybe even a little bit more volume there come in, but NVIDIA up about 1.1% now. Tesla, nice move to the upside, up 1% here today. Let's take a look at the gainers so far from the morning. What are they doing on the open? Dollar General's first sort of move after gapping up on the open is now a little bit of a sell-off from that level. Similar with Ollie. Five Below still moving to the upside, though. It's a nice little move still to the upside. NVIDIA giving back some of that little gains there, but we'll see what we get here. 182.77. See if anything's popping off here. Not really. Okay. Nvidia almost broke to its all-time high, became within a penny of it before dropping off a little bit here. So watch out on Nvidia here. Good run. Do see CELC pumping up here now. CELC, a health technology company, just popped off here to the upside, up about 8%. MTSR with a nice move to the upside here. Also, MTSR, another health pharmaceutical company, popped up about 5% here. Rigetti popping off, now up about 6%. Look at that. AI definitely taking off a little bit here. Q's taking off. Here we go. NASDAQ trying to break it to the upside, following NVIDIA's move to the upside, and all the Mag 7 outside of Apple and Netflix moving to the upside. So we are seeing a little bit of love here. What's it doing to crypto? It took crypto to the downside, actually, a little bit of profit taking here on Bitcoin, back down around the 113 level. Again, 112,500 to the downside, the important level to hold. Ethereum trading still sideways right at that 4,600 period area. Solana with a nice pump to the upside here. If it breaks this 216 area where it's trying to right now, watch for a run to 225 here on Solana. So crypto definitely getting a little bit of love here right now. Market cap up about 1.82% here. Tick has gone negative. I will say advanced decline is pulling back pretty hard here right now. So we are seeing some profit taking. Dow Jones has just broken to the downside. Here, negative on the day. As we said, SPY hit an all-time high at 648.09, has pulled back a couple of dollars from that. Qs are holding up a little bit better, so technology holding up a little bit better here. Gold still above 3,400. Silver just broke 39 here, so moving to the upside also. Again, more profit taken across Bitcoin, just lost the 113 handle. So definitely some outflows coming, it looks like, from IBIT and the ETFs immediately being sold off here. Be a little careful on the crypto side. Dollar General has now gone negative. So we mentioned it had gone up nicely on its earnings. Wow, some serious profit taking here. Now down 2.7%, taking Dollar Tree with it. It is also now down in the early market. Same thing. Albemarle, the mining company, had been up nicely, profit taking there, now down 1.44. Excuse me. So those have reversed to the downside here. Let's see if any of the laggards have popped. We do see a couple of the laggards popping now. CrowdStrike, nice move to the upside here. So CrowdStrike on its earnings beat now as people are digesting that news, up 1.54%. So nice move to the upside. ANET, Arista Networks, another one that was down pretty big in the pre-market, moving now to the upside. Same thing with HP. Hewlett Packard moving to the upside, was down nicely, up about 5.5%. So we're definitely seeing some love there. Chip sector in general getting a little bit of love here. Let's see what we can get today. So can the chip sector, now NVIDIA down 1% again. Man, want to talk about a swing. Look at that. Got to within 1 penny of its all-time high, literally, well, 2 pennies, I guess, to its all-time high, and now down almost 1%. Wow. That is some volatility in the marketplace, huh? LRCX, nice move to the upside here, up about 65 basis points this morning, but continuing to move up. And again, Micron getting a little bit of love here, up about 2% to 120 here. So we are seeing some things take off to the upside. That being said, tick is still negative here, and advanced decline has come down to 1514. Dow Jones is where that loss seems to be coming, now down almost 10 basis points after being up and being the leader this morning in the pre-market side. SPY, like I said, set its 20th new all-time high of 2025 at 648.09 and has pulled back from that level. Qs have pulled off the highs of the day too. So after that first explosive move to the upside, we are seeing a little bit of profit taking sneak in. And we've seen some huge volatility across, especially NVIDIA here this morning. And it also does look like we're still seeing some slides here. Big slide by Bank of America here this morning. Again, another one that was up earlier, now down a little bit. Same thing, Best Buy, which had jumped on its earnings report, now moving back to the downside. So it definitely still seems to be a buy the dip, sell the rip type of trading environment right now. He's trying to level off and move back to the upside. Same thing, NVIDIA trying to pump here now. Here we go, it's trying. With as much things that are moving here this morning, TweetDeck pretty quiet. Bitcoin did regain that 113 level, but Ethereum now lost the 4,600 handle, so still movement there. Dollar Tree back into the green here, so we are seeing volatility here play out. I mean, look at these charts on the 5-minute charts here. The 1 minute's got to be even more crazy on these things. Look at these 1-minute charts. Traders can't make up their minds here. Datadog up 4.62, still moving to the upside here. Datadog just broke through its 50-day MA here. It could really explode from this level. You got upside all the way to 148. So Datadog. MU trying to run here. Needs to get back above 121. Come on, Micron. Let's go. Same thing, LRCX. Nice move to the upside. So chips are moving to the upside here, even though NVIDIA is sort of treading water, so to speak, right now. AMD now up 2% also. There you go, Micron. Nice move. Come on, get towards that 124 for me. VIX picking up off the lows of the day. Again, I did buy some more VIX protection yesterday. Bought a couple of YOLOs that might pan out here also. We'll see. Micron, here you go. Micron's one that I'm in a 124. Today's 0 DTE. It looks like it could pop off here, get to about 123. I'll be looking nice today. LRCX, another I'm in, up 1.06. So Lam Research chips are getting some play. I didn't play NVIDIA, like I said. I played some of these other chips going into it. Looks like it's going to be a good play here. So I will be looking to take some profits like everybody else, though, today. Gold 34.06. So here we go. Gold still moving to the upside. Datadog has taken off again. And MongoDB back on watch here. MongoDB back on watch. Trying to take off. Might try to fill that gap. Look at MongoDB. That gap fill would be 334. Woo. We got some runners today. We got some runners. Micron 20th up 3% now. Let's go. We are moving. Google now up 1% here. Hewlett Packard now up 5%. So we're still seeing some things move nicely to the upside here. It is about 9:45 here. I am gonna sign off a little bit early today when I'm solo. I've sort of run out of stuff to talk about after 45 minutes. Everybody have a great trading day. It does look like the market wants to do a little bit of running, especially the chips, crypto stocks, all nicely moving to the upside here. So keep your eyes on the market today. You could see a nice little green day. Have a fantastic one, everyone.